It's Wednesday, the 16th of February 2022. Welcome to the Fast Five by Fear and Greed, where we give you the top 5 business stories you need to know in just 5 minutes. I'm Michael Thompson, and good morning, Sean Aylmer.
Good morning, Michael.
5 stories in 5 minutes. Let's get into it. Story number 1, Sean, a big one. BHP announced yesterday a whopping $14 billion profit for the December half year. The big Australian, it seems, is getting bigger.
It sure is, Michael. In fact, we shouldn't call it the big Australian because really it's just a major global organisation nowadays that happens to be listed on the ASX. It made $10.7 billion US, or about 14 billion Aussie, for the half year. It announced a huge dividend, fully franked, great for all those shareholders that rely on that income. Now, iron ore drove the business, but coking coal and strong copper prices contributed as well. BHP said it's on track to merge its oil and gas business with Woodside Petroleum by June 30. Now, CEO Mike Henry was really upbeat about the future, saying the outlook for demand from China was expected to improve later this year. The big uncertainty, though, is what's happening in Western Australia and when those borders can reopen. Of course, BHP's major iron ore operations come out of that state. Everything seemed to go right. Profit margins are high. Iron ore production was high just when prices were high. It's really managing its cost base incredibly well, particularly compared to its competitors. In fact, it's the lowest cost iron ore producer in the world.
Okay, story number 2, Sean. Anyone who's thinking that interest rates might be on hold until next year or the year after, I've got some very bad news for you because Commonwealth Bank economists are tipping an interest rate rise in June this year.
Yes, the country's largest bank and biggest home lender said comments from the Reserve Bank Governor Philip Lowe last week suggest the central bank is thinking about lifting rates at some point this year. Now, the Commonwealth Bank thinks inflation and wages growth will be higher than the RBA's forecast, and as a result, the central bank will be forced to hike rates in June this year. Commonwealth Bank thinks that cash rate will be 1% by the end of the year. It's currently 0.1%. That means your home loan interest rate is probably going to have 3 or possibly a 4 by the end of the year, at least according to Commonwealth Bank. Thing about the Commonwealth, it's a huge lender. It has so much information on what's going on in the economy. Certainly worth listening to.
Yeah, absolutely. Story number 3, Sean. I don't think we've ever talked about on this podcast scrap metal before, but all of a sudden scrap metal is very, very popular.
Yes, we're going to talk lots and lots about scrap metal. Great if you're a scrap metal merchant like Sims, and I'll tell you why. The steel industry is one of the worst carbon emitters, accounting for about 8% of global emissions. As the world tries to decarbonise, recycled steel is suddenly very, very popular. Why? Because it's used in electric arc furnaces at plants, which are far less toxic than coking coal furnaces, and sort of part of the journey to producing green steel in Australia. So everyone wants recycled steel. And that's helped Sims announce a $362 million pre-tax profit for the December half year. That's about 3.5 times higher than 12 months earlier. Incredible demand for scrap metal. Good business to be in, Michael.
Yeah, certainly is. Story number 4, Sean, there's been a terrific story going around over the last couple of days about bonuses being paid to Australia Post executives and some bonuses that were paid to them. Yesterday, the story got even better.
Yes, so what we knew was that there were bonuses worth about $170,000 paid to some senior executives. As it turns out, that wasn't really the whole story. Aussie Post was appearing before Senate estimates yesterday, and it emerged that 5 executives received retention bonuses of up to $500,000. Apparently, they were being coaxed away by a major competitor, and they had skills that are hard to find. At least that's the explanation. Now, Green Senator Sarah Hanson-Young said the sums were extraordinary and out of touch. Couldn't agree more. A government-owned institution paying bonus payments of $500,000 seems a bit excessive to me.
Yeah, I think you might be right there. And finally, Sean, story number 5, you've got to give it to Elon Musk, the boss of Tesla. He always manages to surprise, doesn't he?
Yes, according to SEC filings, he gifted almost $6 billion worth of Tesla shares to charity last November. Easily the biggest single handout to the charity sector ever. Now, it's not known who got the shares, but it will help Mr. Musk reduce his tax bill, which is expected to be around $10 billion because he triggered a large number of options last year. Even if it is a way to minimise tax, it's a great gift to charity.
Yeah, pretty generous either way. All right, that's it. The top 5 business stories in 5 minutes. Thank you very much, Sean.
Thank you, Michael.
It's Wednesday, the 16th of February 2022. Remember to hit follow on the podcast, and if 5 minutes isn't enough, then you can find our longer daily podcast called Fear and Greed on your podcast platform. I'm Michael Thompson, and that was the Fast Five by Fear and Greed. Have a great day.